Alright guys, we've got a cool little project today. We're making custom tile mosaics using just a couple boxes of your favorite tile, loose tile, and gluing that down with regular wood glue to a fiberglass backing. So we'll show you step by step how you can make your own custom mosaic tile, like this arts and crafts version that we're using for a bathroom backsplash. Stick around, we'll jump right into it. Okay, so what you'll need to get started is some craft paper laid down on a work surface. Use a large square like a sheetrocker square to create a grid pattern. What made most sense for us is to make a 2x2 pattern so we could go ahead and lay out our tile, even though they're a little longer than that. It works out right to give us some good reference lines. On top of the craft paper with your Sharpie lines, you're going to add just basic saran wrap. So get some saran wrap down, stretch out any wrinkles, and tape it in place. That will basically keep the glue from sticking and adhering this fiberglass mesh to the surface below. So through this you can actually see your Sharpie grid lines. You'll tape this down as well, and then you can just start gluing the tiles down to this fiberglass backing with regular wood glue. So we're just using regular Type Bond 2 wood glue. It helps to have a little dipping tray, and you can just spread a thin layer on the back of each tile before you place it on the fiberglass backer. Doesn't take a tremendous amount of glue, but you do want to have good coverage. Just about like that is all it takes. Work a few tiles ahead, but don't get too far ahead of yourself. You don't want the glue to tack over or dry before you're ready to apply them. And we'll be able to go ahead and start our pattern on our grid line. Of course, on top of the paper grid we have saran wrap and then the fiberglass mesh, and this is the non-sticky variety because we're just planning on gluing it down. So we'll go ahead and align that to our grid and just give it a little press in place. You can also use a combination square just to double check your layout and make sure that things are sitting square to the table, and that looks good there. So our pattern needs to start from my right side with some equal signs, the kind of horizontal run 1/2 inch tiles, and so we'll have 3 of those, and then it transitions to vertical 3, and the way the spacing works out on this, they're 1/8 inch grout lines, and then between these pairs of patterns you get a 1/4 inch grout line. So nice variance in the pattern there. And we just use 1/8 inch spacers to line everything out. Keep it consistent that way. While the glue is wet, you can still push things around a little bit. but do try to get it aligned fairly quickly, because once that glue tacks over, it grabs pretty good. And that looks good there. So we'll move on with another field tile here. This is the top edge of our backsplash. And we're going to wind up trimming this out with some edging strips, black, both top and bottom. Okay, so now we have that in place. We'll go ahead and check the overall square again. I ran my paper and grid lines so that it's square to the table, so I can actually use my workbench itself to confirm square anywhere along the line. And once we get going, I'm also going to be using a straight edge to double check that we have a nice straight reference surface to go against the countertop. And after two of the standard pattern, we mix things up, and we're going to do a little arts and crafts floral looking design. So this will be the kind of the top of the flower, the petals, and then the stem design will come down this way. And ultimately, you've got to work to the straight edge on the bottom. But the plan is to have about 1/8 inch grout lines all around. If the two don't agree, if your straight edge and your 1/8 inch grout lines don't agree, I would let the straight edge settle that debate. And then also 1/8 inch grout lines between the stem and the petal of the floral design. We're looking nice and straight on the bottom. Double check that on the top. That's carrying along pretty well. And so we'll just press that down. And that tight bond too really works well. Seat that in place and hold your tile nice and tight to the fiberglass backing, so you don't have any woes when it comes time to install your backsplash. So when we jump over this floral design, we go from the vertical back to the horizontal, or kind of the equal sign pattern. And other than that, it's just back to the main pattern design. Plenty of spacers laid out so we can keep working. You do feel like you have enough time to lay these, but that glue, once it grabs, it holds quite well. It's the same glue I use for my woodworking projects, by the way, so something I'm quite familiar with. And then we'll go to the vertical, 1/8 inch spacers both directions. Kind of neat, once you get a few of the patterns laid, you can see how the look is developing. Any color variations from tile to tile, we try to just let occur naturally for the most part. Keep it random and it tends to look right. Okay, so this one's set up, and we're going to add the trim strips around the perimeter. These black trim strips are actually resin in a flat black finish. They actually match the ceramic tile for the field Listello pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and glue those in place just like the ceramic, and we'll let that set up. Later we'll add this bullnose trim and miter that in place once the tile is set on the wall. You can go ahead and trim your excess. Right now I've got this up on a little piece of sheet good. It's actually a piece of MDF, but plywood would work fine, and that's just to elevate it to make it a little easier to cut this fiberglass backer. And so we'll cut away any excess there, and we'll actually be ready for the install. So this is what the fiberglass mesh looks like, and it just provides a really nice backer for the tile, gives it some flexibility as you install it, but also gives it some strength. So the neat thing is you can make it any size you want for these tiles. Now this is kind of a smaller, more manageable piece. This will be kind of the return on the end of a bathroom vanity. But this piece we decided to make in a continuous length. So we've got about 40 inches on this mosaic, and just think how complicated that would be to try to piece that in piece by piece, doing an installation in place. So this fiberglass backing idea really gives you some options, and I think will make the install quite a bit easier. And there we go, the mosaic freshly installed, and honestly that just flipped up in 2 pieces. Made the install super easy. A little bit of grout and we'll be good to go. The final detail will be to add these bullnose strips, and we'll just miter those piece by piece, install that so it wraps over the top and the ends. We'll do that after the mastic cures. And here you get a look at the finished product with a dark charcoal grout installed and sealed with a 511 impregnator sealer, and it just has a really nice craftsman look to it. You notice the details as far as the smaller trim that's laid vertical and horizontal. And it just gives it an overall nice look, a little variance in the color with the orange and the black and the green. So this is what you can expect if you do a project like this and build your own mosaic tile. Give it a try. Alright guys, there it is. Easy technique to make your own custom mosaic backsplash. It's a great way to put tile together, and you're not limited to the patterns you can find in the building centers. So do give this technique a try. I bet you'll find success on your very first attempt. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.